Hello, everyone, and welcome to another great episode of the Gridiron Glory. Here with Will and Tad, we talk about all 32 teams in the NFL, and today we're talking about some exciting January football content. The last week of the regular season, and it's the Los Angeles Chargers going on the road, getting a big divisional win to defeat the Raiders 34 to 20. With the win, the Chargers they lock up the number five seed in the AFC and a first round matchup with the Houston Texans on the road. The Raiders they fall to 4-13 on the season, and they will be number six in the NFL draft. So two very different scenarios for these AFC West foes. For the Chargers, a huge success in the first year of Jim Harbaugh's career. Yeah, with the Chargers, they have a very strong defensive team, a very competent offense. Justin Herbert, 28 of 36, 346, two touchdowns, so a big performance there by their quarterback as they move into the playoffs. Great to see J.K. Dobbins back on the field, 18 carries for 63 yards. And then you also have Hassan Haskins, the young running back, 12 for 33 and a touchdown. Huge game receiving for Quentin Johnston, the young receiver there, 13 for 186 yards for the second round pick out of TCU, first round pick, 21st in the 2023 draft. So after seeing this breakout game for Quentin Johnston, who has 55 catches for 711 yards, eight touchdowns. Where would you rank Quentin Johnston amongst receivers in the AFC, Mr. Wickert?
Yes, I would rank Quentin Johnson a easily top half, upper tier wide receiver in the league. The second year pro out of TCU, the 23-year-old. I mean, he doesn't play like he's 23. He plays like he's 30. So um, insane what he's able to go out there and do, and he is thriving very well with the quarterback like Justin Herbert. Yeah, Tad, Jim Harbaugh, you said it in the preseason. Jim Harbaugh just wins. He wins wherever he goes. He knows ball. So he comes into this Los Angeles Chargers franchise. I mean, Tad, we expected the Chargers to be really bad.
I mean,
We
I believe
expected them.
the words that I said in the preseason was I could see the Los Angeles Chargers being one of the worst teams in the AFC. I believe that's exactly how I said it. I mean, I thought Harbaugh could turn it around eventually. I did not see this swift of a 1 year fixer upper.
Yeah, neither did I. So I'm insanely impressed with what the Los Angeles Chargers have been able to accomplish. And Tad, yeah, 5 catches, 42 yards, 8.4 yards. He did catch a touchdown in this game. Yes, I would love to ask you with my full heart, where would you rank Will Dissly amongst tight ends in the league?
I mean, Will Disley, been around the block since 2018 when he was drafted by Seattle out of Washington. Um, Will Disley, the veteran leader. I mean, you just when you see a guy like Will Disley just go out and he just goes out and balls. I mean, he gets two touchdowns in the season. And he goes out there and he just plays with such a fire, such a passion. 481 yards this year is a career high for Will Disley in his first year with the Chargers, and it's just been an absolutely surreal experience to watch a man like Will Disley go and compete at the highest level.
Boy, I love it. And I mean, J.K. Dobbins has been an excellent addition to this Chargers system. I mean,
For
obviously
sure.
not, 18 carries, 63 yards in the game, but for the season, you got 195 carries, 905 yards, nine touchdowns on the season. Fourth year player out of Ohio State. Obviously, J.K. Dobbins has had a massive comeback story. He has been plagued with injuries throughout his career. It was really, really nice to see J.K. Dobbins have a very healthy season. And with that being said, when healthy, where would you rank J.K. Dobbins amongst running backs in the league?
I mean, just the way he's been able to compose himself, the way he's recovered, he's got 905 yards this year, and that's with missing several games. He ended up only playing in 13 games, so he missed 4 games. He's still one of the higher rated rushers in the league. I mean, in terms of just looking at the stats, especially, I'd probably say if you look at like yards per game, I would imagine he ranks very highly in the league in yards per game played. Yeah, I mean, looking at that, he is top 10 in yards per game. So, I mean, I'd say he's easily a top 10 running back looking at that.
Awesome. Okay, let's flip to the Raiders because we haven't talked about them at all. 4-13, 2-6 at home this year. You know, Tad, we kind of did expect this sort of a season from the Las Vegas Raiders. Probably there's probably one bright spot on this entire chaotic mess that is the Raiders, and that's probably Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
4 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown. If I'm, the Raiders and I'm trying to do anything, the one smart thing you could do right now is keep Brock Bowers around. But outside of that, obviously they go with Aiden O'Connell in this game, 24-34, 2 touchdowns and a pick. They just don't, you've talked about cognitive plans, Tad. Jacoby Myers, 9 catches, 123 yards. That's awesome. But Tad, you've talked about cognitive plans. It doesn't seem like the Raiders really have a solidified one. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
also traded away literally your best player in the middle of the season, Davante Adams, who was your best player. So now you're left with where you're at. So just massive head scratchers for the Raiders.
I mean, it was a good move to trade away Adams so they could build their draft capital. I mean, it was clear that this team was going nowhere, so they needed to get younger. They needed to prioritize their younger receivers, guys like Bowers, guys like Myers, Trey Tucker, even. So there's a lot still that they need to look at. And like I mentioned, they'll have the number 6 pick in the draft, so they'll have an opportunity. They might even try to move up in the draft if they want to get a quarterback because they need a quarterback. The quarterback of the future is not on the roster for the Raiders. I think that's obvious to everyone.
And it's sad because you maybe wanted to see that with Aiden O'Connell. You maybe wanted to see that with Desmond Ritter, but just those guys. I mean, and maybe those guys would be good fits somewhere else, but just not a good fit in this system.
Yeah, I think it's been fairly clear that these are guys that are transitional level quarterbacks, like go from one to the next. I mean, Derek Carr was the guy that they had hoped to be their franchise quarterback, and then of course he goes to the Saints, and it never worked out with Carr here. He was mostly average at best here, and now you're just trying to figure out what's next, and they've not figured it out yet. So whether they do it in the draft this year, whether they do it in free agency, they need to find a quarterback. That's priority number one, I'd say.
Absolutely. So, yep, I would probably agree with that. You know, other than that, I really don't have any other final thoughts or takes. Really, just you know, yeah, you just kind of probably have to get a quarterback in the offseason is what I would say for the Raiders.
Yes.
And for the Chargers, you go on the let's see here. What are you doing in the wild card round? You're going on the road and playing the Houston Texans. So that's going to be it's not a non-win. It's definitely a winnable game that the Chargers can go and win on the road versus the Houston Texans in the wild card round.
Yeah, definitely a winnable game. They will, as you said, they'll be playing Saturday to open up the playoffs. The Chargers, they're actually favorites in the game. They're -3, so the Chargers, they think the Chargers have a good chance to win this game. I mean, we'll see. It'll be a big game. I mean, Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud, that should be a lot of fun.
Should be a lot of fun, yeah. So we'll see if Jim Harbaugh can keep things rolling against the defending coach of the year. So
Yeah,
we'll see. That's going to be, I would say, more than anything, it's going to come down to which coach can outcoach the other coach in that game.
sure. Yeah. A lot
But
of tactical decisions, good defense, stuff like that.
Yep. So yeah, Chargers win 34-20. I don't really have any other final thoughts or takes.
Yeah. Thanks for watching the Good Eye and Glory. Please continue to like, subscribe, and follow our playoff content. Thanks for watching.